You know, when we think about education, our minds usually jump to things like textbooks, exams, maybe a lesson plan. But what if the most important lessons aren't on the syllabus at all? Today, we're going to dive into two incredibly powerful and often invisible forces that really shape a student's journey: the character of the teacher and, believe it or not, the character of the classroom itself.
This question, right here, from educator Gregory Chaharazian, it just hits the nail on the head. This is the heart of what we're exploring, the unspoken curriculum. It's all those profound lessons that are taught between the lines, things you'll never find in a textbook.
So first up, let's talk about the teacher. And look, we're not talking about academic credentials or what's on their resume. We're talking about the personal, the emotional, the ethical lessons they pass on, just by being who they are. Just think back for a second. Who was your most memorable teacher? Do you really remember that specific math formula they taught you? Or do you remember their passion, their patience? As Chaharazian points out, the lessons that stick with us are almost never about the subject. They're about character, and most of all, about how that teacher made you feel.
And this unspoken curriculum, it starts on day one. Chaharazian tells this great story about his first day of teaching. He's just walking through the school courtyard, and students are already making these snap judgments. I like his tie. He looks strict. Before he'd even said a single word, he was already teaching. His presence was the first lesson.
What's wild is how this perception can actually be shaped on purpose. Chaharazian's mentor gave him this really strange piece of advice. He said, never walk around without a piece of paper in your hand. Why? Well, because the paper projected an image. It made him look busy, important. It was like a little masterclass in how much our image influences everyone around us.
So this idea naturally builds from just, passive perception to the teacher's active role as a model. And this is where that unspoken curriculum becomes super tangible.
Chaharazian tells this awesome story about his scruffy art teacher who, it turns out, was also a phenomenal football player. What a lesson, right? Don't judge a book by its cover. He also remembers a married couple who both taught at his all-boys school 30 years ago. The husband actually stayed home to raise their child. I mean, that single act taught a more powerful lesson about gender roles than any lecture ever could.
So why does all this modeling matter so much? Well, get a load of this number, 19,000. That's the average number of hours a student spends with their teachers. It's a staggering amount of time, an incredible opportunity for a teacher's character, their values, their whole personality, to leave a really deep and lasting mark.
In the world of education, this influence is so real, it's actually formalized by a legal concept, in loco parentis. It's Latin, and it means in the place of a parent. It's this formal acknowledgement of the deep bond and the heavy responsibility a teacher holds. As one Armenian saying goes, your teacher is your second parent.
Okay, so clearly the person matters a lot. But this brings up a really fascinating question, right? If the person is a teacher, can the place be one too? Can a room, just an environment, actually teach us things?
And that brings us to our second powerful invisible force. We're going to borrow from Montessori philosophy here, because it has this incredible idea that the physical environment isn't just some container for learning. It's a teacher in its own right. The core idea here is called the prepared environment. Now, this is way more than just having a tidy classroom. It's about intentionally designing a space where every single object and its placement serves a purpose to help a child learn independently. When you look at a classic prepared environment, you just get this sense of calm and order, right? Materials are on low, accessible shelves. The furniture is child-sized. It's a space that doesn't scream for attention. Instead, it just quietly invites you to focus and explore. Like Maria Montessori said, the first aim is to make the child independent of the adult.
So how is an environment like this actually created? Well, it's built on several key principles that all work together, and they effectively turn the space itself into a teacher.
The first principle is freedom. But wait, this isn't freedom to just do whatever you want. It's freedom of movement, freedom to explore, and the freedom to choose your own work. It's all about trusting the child to follow their own natural curiosity. And here, you can see that freedom in action. This child isn't just sitting there waiting for instructions. He's totally absorbed in his own discovery, going at his own pace. The environment is specifically designed to allow for these incredible moments of deep, independent concentration.
And you might think structure and order completely contradicts freedom, but in the Montessori view, it's actually the exact opposite. The order of the classroom, where everything has a specific place, is supposed to reflect the order of the universe. It helps the child make sense of the world, which in turn gives them the confidence to explore it freely.
And finally, the environment should speak a language of beauty, nature, and reality. What does that mean? It means creating a simple, harmonious space that's uncluttered and peaceful. It means using natural materials. Think wood, metal, cotton instead of plastic, and giving kids real, child-sized tools, not just toys. This teaches respect for their surroundings and empowers them with real-world skills.
Okay, so we've seen the teacher as a powerful role model and the environment as this kind of silent guide. Now, let's bring these two huge ideas together.
What's so amazing is how well these two curriculums line up. You've got the teacher modeling kindness and fairness, while the prepared environment is teaching independence. The teacher shows humility, the environment instills a sense of order. The teacher challenges norms, the environment fosters respect for nature and reality. Both are teaching absolutely essential life skills, and none of it is on a lesson plan.
Because ultimately, whether it's the person or the place, the goal is exactly the same. It's not just about cramming a kid's head full of facts. It's about developing their entire being, their personality, their character, their soul.
And this leaves us with a final and pretty crucial question. We all say it, right? The children are the future. But if that's really true, are we paying enough attention to these powerful, unspoken lessons? How are we preparing the people and the places that are ultimately going to shape that future?